Are there any evolutionary thinking about the value of superstition in the species? I read a study that ducks can be superstitious. Is that correct? They did some study where,
Well,
and I forgot what the study was, but I read it. It's like, damn, the bird was superstitious because there was something it did
well,
that where it got the same result, and then they
yeah, yeah.
changed it, but it
I
kept
think you're
doing it.
thinking of pigeons. Yes,
Pigeons,
it's
okay.
pigeons. Yes, it's a classic study by Skinner, the inventor of the Skinner box. And in the Skinner box, what happens is that the bird is normally it's rewarded for pecking at a key and gets food reward. But if you turn the mechanism off, such that it's used to the idea that it should be getting a reward, you give it rewards at random, regardless of what it does. Okay, and what happens is if you have half a dozen birds all in separate boxes under this regime where they get food reward at random, they don't know why they're getting it. What happens is that each bird develops a different habit, superstitious habit, presumably, quote, thinking that this is what gave it the reward. So you'll have one
Wow.
bird that preens its left wing, another bird that pecks its foot, another bird that looks over its left shoulder, another bird that waltzes round and round in circles. All these things Skinner observed. And that is a beautiful analogy to superstition, where you sacrifice a goat, and lo and behold, the rainy season comes, which is what you want for your crops. And you think, it must have been you because we sacrificed a goat. And from then on, you don't dare not sacrifice the goat for fear that next time the rains won't come. And so it is a beautiful demonstration of superstitious behavior in pigeons.
By the way, I didn't know pigeons had shoulders. He said looks over its left shoulder.
And yes, they sort of do, don't they?
I guess so. They're vertebrates, so they got some
Yeah.
anatomical correspondence. Okay, so any insight into why that? Because we want to believe we're in control of outcomes, whether or not that's a true
We're in a
fact.
very complicated world where, in order to survive, we need to do some kind of intuitive statistics, maybe Bayesian statistics, anyway, some kind of intuitive statistics. And we're not ideal, we're not very well versed in statistics unless we've learned it at school or university. And so we have to intuitively guess that something that we did might have had some beneficial effect or some bad effect. And it's pardonable in a way that we should be bad statisticians. It's entirely understandable that natural selection would have built into our nervous system a tendency to try to be a good statistician.
That's fascinating. So what you're saying is we are trying to be logical and rational in this world, and so that maybe gave us the capacity to be scientific at all. But when you don't have the methods and tools of science, it is rife with ways that this effort to be that fails. That's kind of what you're
And
saying.
and add to that the world we live in is capricious and complicated, and so the weather is unpredictable, virtually unpredictable. Um, the sudden appearance of predators, the sudden appearance of a spring in the ground, finding a river, all these things are unpredictable, and so I mean they are statistically predictable, but they're not absolutely predictable. So we have to do statistics. We have to think probabilistically, and I suppose there's a trade-off between what statisticians call a type 1 error and a type 2 error, false positive and false negative. If you make an error in the direction of, say, thinking it's a lion when it isn't a lion, then you waste and you run scared from every little movement of the bushes. Then you never get any eating done. On the other hand, if you're too blasé and you assume it's not a lion, then you get eaten. And
In
so
some of the
there's
cases, yes, yes.
yeah, there's a difficult balance between being too risk averse and the opposite of being risk averse, and where the balance should be struck is difficult. And so when you get it wrong, it comes out as superstition.